Okay. Yeah, so cold. All right, so before I get into the POE parts tonight, I want to first, oh yeah, Gauteng had snow, so the whole East Coast is and inland is doing well, all on the chillo side. Who knew it would be spring right now? Okay, so before I get into the POE and start breaking down stuff from the POE, I want to just talk about the assignment. I'm almost finished marking. I've got like 3 more to mark tonight, and then the marking will be done on the assignments. So I just want to give you guys some feedback on the assignments because that feedback is going to help you guys for the POE. All right. So first things first is that when you guys are giving content, to, for one, make sure that you are writing things in full sentences. So I've had a few of the assignments where you guys have used bullet lists, but those bullet lists are not written out in full sentences. So they've almost like a summarized version, which obviously is not appropriate because then I don't see the full detail and see the full understanding. So it's really, really important that if you use bullet lists, you still write in full. So you don't just write there ages 15 to 35. You say the when looking at the age profile of a Pringles employee, it would be 18 to 55 with people with a university background, yada, yada, yada. So it's all about making sure you give sufficient detail. Sorry, guys, my screen went blank. So it's all about making sure you give sufficient detail. So for a couple of people, they gave the answers, but in shorthand. You can't get the 80s and 90s if you write in shorthand. And that's for any of the questions. Does that make sense to you guys? Before I go on to the next bit of detail. Okay. Right. So that's the first thing. The next thing was that when you guys are creating any document, so like the infographic, or if you're doing an email or anything, if you're doing it for a company, like in this instance, you're doing it for Pringles, you have to have that Pringles logo present. So you obviously can use your own design, colors, and everything, but whether it's an email, an infographic, or anything, you've got to have the Pringles logo because you're creating these documents for Pringles. So if the Pringles logo isn't present, then how do I know that this is something that is being designed for Pringles? So when you're doing your POE, just make sure the Pringles logo and the Pringles content is visible, especially with the last question that I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to start looking through some of the POE tonight. Just make sure that Pringles logo and in some instances the Pringles coloring is present. That way, I know that it would be that if it was distributed, people would know it was be produced for Pringles. Okay. That was the next point. The other point, and this one is quite important. So for your assignment, you had to do the 3-step plan. So the mind map, then the first draft with all the errors, which I know irked you a lot, and then the final edited draft, document. So one of the things that I've just picked up when I've been marking is that people were giving the marking off the errors, but actually not doing it correctly. So with that, it's that, again, it's all about that detail. So both of you did well in your assignments, as you guys will see soon. But it's to make sure that for everyone, so obviously recording this for those that aren't in the collab tonight as well, is that you need to ensure that you give like every little mistake, make as many mistakes as you can. That's not like over the top, but it's that like I know Karen, you did it. Chantal, I can't remember right now if you've done it or not, but you've got to have the comments telling me what the changes must go to. So it doesn't help highlighting and putting the bits and pieces that need to be changed, but not showing me what they need to be changed to. So it's really, really important to have those comments or those pen marks or what have you, so that I can see what you are saying is a mistake or an error that needs to be changed. So I cannot give marks for content that has got gaps or where you haven't given sufficient detailing to actually award those marks. And the problem with the POE and the assignment is that 1 mark for these questions, so that, like, for example, the questions that are out of 20, 1 mark is 5%. So there's a big difference between a 65 and a 70, 70 and 75. So, if you don't give me enough detail, I can't give you that 75. I have to give you that 70 or that 65. And that's literally 1 or 2 marks different. And even in your final POE, which is 150 marks, it's still, the individual marks, when you're looking at question by question, it actually, 1 mark makes a significant difference. Okay. Does that make sense to you too? Do you guys have any questions before I move on to the POE? Okay. You're good. Karen, Chantal, are you fine? Okay. All right. So don't be anxious. You're fine. Both of you are fine. So there's nothing to be anxious about at all. Okay. Obviously, I can't tell you your marks. Have they not released the MEST marks? Oh, that's strange. Okay. Just keep me posted, because I only told them yesterday. So I sent them notification in the morning. So normally they do it that day, but maybe they're just a little bit behind. But yeah, don't worry. Again, you don't need to worry about media studies, Karen. Promise, promise. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at, so tonight I just want us to, we're not going to break down the entire POE, because obviously we have our NSS, but I want to just start with some of the sections tonight, just so you guys can start, because for some of you, you need to start working on these, because, time is of the essence, and you've got so many things on your plate, and we technically are in November tomorrow, so it's not that long. So I'd rather just speak to the POE as a, well, maybe even go through it as a whole, just briefly, and then next week in our NSS I will break down everything in minute detail. Yeah, exactly, Karen. There's so much coming up. And this one, again, is not a difficult one, guys. It really is quite simple and straightforward. It's just about knowing which sections of the textbook to use, more than anything else. And I will give you the page references as we go tonight. Okay. So if you have a look on the page, the same thing. It's the background is we're launching the flavors of Pringle, of these 3 flavors going through Pringles, and now you've done the internal side of things. Now we're going to the external things. Okay, so it says at this point you must have completed part 1. Both of you have done that. We're good to go. All right, so if we go to the next page, let's have a look what you guys are going to be doing. All right, so section A for 20 marks. You have successfully informed the staff and the retailers of the new product. So your next step is to communicate to the consumers, which makes sense, all right? You need to be able to tell the consumer what is happening, because they're the ones who are actually going to be buying the chips, the product. So we've got to now actually tell the consumer what is going on. Okay. Compositional. Sorry, I'm just getting the word so that I've got the right thing for you guys. So we are going to be focusing on the compositional modes. All right. And the compositional modes, it's page 231 of the textbook. Okay. So this is all about focusing on reaching the audience in multiple ways. Okay, so it says before you start planning the communication to the consumer, you need to consider the compositional modes when writing messages for digital and social media. Okay, so when we look at this, we have these 9 compositional modes. Okay, now I've just gone to the wrong page. Sorry, I've got the textbook open on the one thing and on the other. Okay, 231. There we go. All right. So it says what you're going to do is you're going to discuss each of the 9 compositional modes and clearly indicate how each would apply to the digital communication of Pringles with the release of their new flavors. So for this one, you cannot exceed 800 words, and it does have to be referenced. You need to include in-text referencing through this. Okay. I will give you guys that, the 10% leeway that I always do. So you're looking at 900 words max. Okay. So I just want to, while we're talking, I just want to pull up the textbook for you guys, just so that I'm hoping this is going to work so that I can share the page with you on the screen. So if you just give me 1 second, I just need to jump to the page. Sorry, these things take forever to load, whether it's a computer, a laptop, or whatever it may be. So if you've got your textbook in front of you, or if you've got the digital copy in front of you, if you go have a look on page 231, it looks at our compositional modes. So, hold on. Okay, you've got it. I don't know, Chantal, if you've got it. Yeah, I'm just about to, sorry, this thing has loaded. I just want to jump to the page and then we can carry on. So if we have a look at these different modes, they are quite straightforward, and how this one works, or what you guys need to do for this, is it's going to be a straightforward thing of making sure that you basically regurgitate the theory from the textbook, followed by here we go. Now I've got it. So we're going to give theory and follow that on with, oh, okay, I can't share my screen with you guys with that side. Okay. All right. So you're going to state the theory directly from the textbook, and then you're going to apply it to Pringles. So like you guys did your audience profile, now you're going to do it to the 9 compositional modes. So the first thing is, so it's all about how we can use our social media. So the first thing is conversations. So you will paraphrase the content on conversations and then speak to how you think Pringles can use conversations to reach the audience on social media. Then you go to comments and critiques. You give me the theory on what those are. Then you've got to give me an example of how you think Pringles can use comments and critiques to reach the audience on social media. Now, you guys can be specific. You can say on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on whatever. You don't have to do all social media platforms with all 9. You can choose one example on each, but what is really important here is that it should be a sentence of theory followed by 1 or 2 sentences on the application to Pringles. And there's no right or wrong way in terms of, like with comments and critiques. You can talk, someone might bring in how they respond to comments on the new flavors. Someone else could maybe talk about how comments can be used to further explain things. There's different approaches through social media. So as long as you give me a realistic application of how Pringles can use these compositional modes, you're good to go. So it's conversations, comments and critiques, orientations, summaries, reference material, narratives, teasers, and status updates and announcements. So this one is very much a the theory side of it is summary of the textbook. The application side of it is your spin on how you think Pringles can use these different platforms and different social medias. Does that make sense in terms of section A? It is very simple. So I say this module is really the one that is a brain break, as it were. It's not the hectic, in-depth stuff of your other modules. Okay. All right. So let's go and have a look at section B. All right. And it's the one where you can really get nice marks. Okay, I've just sent the screenshot of the content for section B, just so you guys have it with you while we're looking. It is page 261. All right, so it says create a social media strategy to communicate the new flavors to the customers by using the following formula. Who, what, when, no, why, who, what, how, where, and when. Sorry, I'm so used to saying it in the journal order. So why? So why does the company want to what does the company want to accomplish with social media? How will the efforts be measured? It's just it's my natural default. Okay, so what are they trying to do? Why are they advertising it? Because Pringles are wanting to sell the new flavors. Who is the target audience? Who in the company will develop the required content? So who is the target audience? You explain. And then for the who is developing the content, you make it up. It's you, it's a team, whatever you want to have it as. Okay. Then you go through, so you literally go through each of these areas. Okay. And in this, you will answer the questions that is in that graphic that I have shared with you guys. So in this instance, you're not going to be giving me theory, but you're going to actually be producing this social media strategy using that formula. So what you need to do, and again, I said this to my students last year, this one you can bullet list. So you can have, evening Pule, you can have why as a bullet point and then answer those questions underneath. The who, so put the word who, and then underneath that you can bullet point or write a short paragraph on who the target audience is and who in the company will deal with it. You can even go as far as doing why and then the bullet points that are under each of those things within that graphic. You can put that sentence as a bullet point and then explain underneath. So you can even break it down further that way. So it means that, again, it's very straightforward. It's not higher grade. You are mostly making it up. But if you do it that way where you want to include the questions that are seen within that graphic, just make sure that you reference those questions because you are taking them directly from the textbook. All right. Does section B make sense? Again, at this point, it's still very straightforward. So those you can get done and dusted within a couple of hours because half of the stuff is made up and the other half is paraphrasing. Okay, so those are the easy ones. Now, section C is again easy, but there's a little bit of background to it. Okay, and in our next collab next Wednesday, I'm going to show this to you guys in detail, but I'm just going to briefly go over it now. So for section C, you've got to make an Instagram post. So you've got to actually make a legit Instagram post. So what I would say to you guys is you've got to make up a fake Instagram account. So the reason why I say that is you need to have all the formatting and everything so it looks like a real Instagram post. So what my students have done in the past is they've gone online, created a fake Pringles account. So with a handle and with its logo, and they post one post that they need for this question, and they immediately delete the account. It's just needed for the sake of the POE. So that Instagram post has got to be the thing that draws the audience into wanting to buy these new flavors of Pringles. So you can either make it a still Instagram post, with cool graphics, making it look good, thinking about what attracts the audience, making sure it's got all the hashtags and all the details, making sure that the Pringle logo is the profile picture for that Instagram post. Or if you want to make it a GIF or GIF, however you want to pronounce it, if you wanted to have motion, then all you need to do is keep the Instagram account open for as long as the POE is, past the marking stage. So say till December, and then you can delete it if you want to make something that actually has motion and, a video aspect of it. I've had both in the past. Both work well. Both have got its place. But if you're not good in terms of, making things move and all that, then rather just do a still Instagram post. Okay. So, and you've got to make sure you have all the details, when it's going to be released, where's it going to be released, what are the new flavors, are anything that makes me stop and go, that looks cool, and makes me go, all right, you know the important info that needs to be there for the audience to actually go off and buy these new flavors. How do you guys feel about that one? This is the one that takes a little bit more time. Just because it's actually like fiddly going and making it. What do you guys think? Yeah, it is nice. Again, it just gives you a break from the norm. So, yeah, okay. So that's section C. And then section D. Okay, last one. Now, this is the same as your assignment. It's the persuasive messages. So it's the same thing. You're going to do a plan. So you're going to do a mind map. You're going to then make a first draft with tons of mistakes, and then you're going to have the final draft. Okay. So what this is, you're going to write a persuasive message designed to convince customers to try the new Pringles flavors. This message will appear on the front page of the Pringles website as an announcement. So for this, you're going to do your mind map. Then you are going to do your first attempt with all the mistakes and all that, with all the comments down the side and written on the document or whatever, and then the final. But the final one has to look as if it would go on the Pringles page. So it's got to have the color and the graphics and the everything. But the whole point is that it's meant to be as it would be seen on the opening page, and but following the exact same process you did for the assignment. So tomorrow, should be tomorrow, let's say by Thursday, because I'll tell them the marks are ready tomorrow. So by Thursday, you should get your marks, and then you'll be able to see your feedback in terms of whether or not you've given me sufficient detailing for that last question of the assignment. But again, you're following the exact same principles as you did for the assignment for this. So does that one make sense? So that one's again, it's all pretty easy because it's all stuff you've already done. So it's not, well, the section D, should I say, it's the process that you've already experienced. Okay. And that's your whole POE, which is quite cool. So that is it. And then if you look, it's just going on after that is the rubric that I use to mark. Okay. Any questions? Anything at all? Cool. All right. Then that is it for tonight, guys. I just wanted to make sure we go through this now because, like I said, I know some of you want to start working on it. And then again, next week, Wednesday, I'll go through it in full again, with more detail. I'll, show you examples of past students' work as well as other online examples and all that. So just to give you that further support in our NSS, and then it means that you guys are prepped and ready to submit in November. It's a pleasure. Same to you. We'll chat to you guys soon. Yeah, short and sweet. Okay. All right, guys, have a great evening, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye.